And we're back, Birds Fly Talk here. We told you we were bringing you 2 videos on the draft recap, and that is exactly what we are doing. So it is Kevin Taylor here, and I am back in the studio all by my lonesome like I described to you. We want to send our sorries out to my boy Elsie, who is a big supporter and worker for Birds Fly Talk, a partner who works here with us. We did this video already. Things got messed up, so we had to run back through it. And so it's just me, but hey, we've got our guy Trey on the phone all the way out, with Eagles _Republic. He's on the line, and he is calling in to go over these final 5 picks that the Eagles got. And let's just preface it here so that we don't have to really jump into it during the conversation before we get him on the line. The Eagles made several trades. They traded down they traded up to get Donnell Pumphrey. They got him right before the Cowboys, who were very interested in him. And, the Cowboys went Switzer after that. And then they were able to trade down. And as they traded down, they were able to get that pick they lost back, and with that pick they got back, it actually turned into a 6th-round pick. So the Eagles had 2 4ths, 2 5ths, and 1 6th. So it turns out they still had 8 picks in the draft, and and no 7th-round pick. So their 7th-round pick pretty much became a 6th-round pick. Their 6th-round pick became a 5th-round pick, and we had that extra 4th-round pick in there from the Patriots trade. But anyway, going through this draft here, Hollins. So he's who we're gonna talk about first before we get we're gonna get Trey on the line, and that's who we're gonna go over first, and then we're gonna go down to Donnell Pumphrey, Sheldon Gibson, Nathan Gary, and Elijah Quells. So let's get Trey on the line. Trey, are you there?
Yep. How's it going?
How's it going, man? Glad to be back. Glad to be following up with video 2 here, man, and we appreciate you working with us here. So, look, let's just jump right into it. No introductions needed. If you need to know more about Trey, jump on the last video. It's literally, you probably watched it before this. I don't know why you would skip the first 3 videos anyway. But, Trey, he's awesome at Eagles _Republic. That's a partnership we have going on there. So jump on, check him out on Instagram. But anyway, Matt Collins, 4th-round pick, 118 overall from North Carolina. And the Cat's got some size to him. He was an end zone threat for Mitch Trubisky, and he's an Eagle now. So Trey, why don't you give us some of your thoughts on that pick and how you feel about it?
I think it was a great pick because it adds so much depth to our wide receiver position, which was such a struggle last year. Obviously, if we bring in more weapons for Carson Wentz and more options, then he's going to pick the best and the players that he wants to play with. So, bringing in another guy who has size like Alshon Jeffrey is great. But
I'm very thankful.
That really surprises me. When you see a wide receiver at 6'4", 221, you think, all right, cool. So he's another DGB. He's got size. He's going to be purely used for red zone threat and cross the middle. Not at all with this guy. This guy is fast. He is a burner, and he might not be John Ross 4.22 fast, but he ran a 4.53, which is pretty much Christian McCaffrey speed. Mm-hmm. So you add in a burner with size that, you can't beat that. And he's literally, all you have to do is throw it up and throw it deep, and he's going to be there. And what's awesome about this kid is, even if he doesn't make the team as a wide receiver, he's probably going to make the team as a special teams player, because throughout his 4 years of college at UNC, he was a special teams captain all 4 years.
Absolutely. And that's what I really wanted to get to. The Eagles, obviously, as you know, have they've had the best it's fact. They've had the best special teams in the league, period. And that's a credit to Dave Fitt, a great coordinator there. And so if you want to keep a great coordinator and you want your team and your special teams to be solid, you have to supply players. So, one website I really like is Walter Football, walterfootball.com. I really like their rankings and projections, and they do some really good work there. So I guess that's some free publicity for them. Walter Football, check them out. But they they had Matt Hollins rated as the 40th best wide receiver in this draft as of April 25th. The 25th of April, the 40th best. So that shows you that, hey, his value in this draft to be drafted in that spot at the 4th round, at the top of the 4th round, came somewhere different. It came from somewhere else, right? He's a gunner. They said he's the best special teams player in this draft. And so for a team that excels in special teams, obviously you got that. Trey just went over, the added competition he's going to add, the deep threat, the speed he has. I'd like to see him put on some more weight, to be honest. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. I'd like to see him fill out a little bit more, because if he can, and he can get, maybe like to DGB size with that kind of speed that he has in the red zone, he's going to be a problem if he can get there. And that's a heavy task to ask. But great pick for the value of him being obviously a special teamer and a big wide receiver. And, you might knock the fact that he's a special teamer, but the fact is that, look, the Eagles have won several games in the past 3 years off of their special teams, especially the years they went 10-6. They won a good 3 or 4 games because of special teams. That Patriots game, that was special teams. So think about that and the value of special teams. I know I don't need to tell you Philly, but the national media who sees this they might be out of touch a little bit with the value of special teams. There's 3 phases of the game. Don't forget that. So Trey, obviously he gives the insight, and we love it. So moving on to round 4, pick 132, Donnell Pumphrey, running back from San Diego State. And I'll jump right in and say, look, the guy is prolific. He's broken every record there is to break. He's an NCAA leading rusher. He's a small guy, but we like him. We like him a lot. Trey, what do you think?
Yeah, he's one of those players that looks a lot like Darren Sproles.
Yeah.
He's a fast little quick guy, shifty. He's got great agility, great footwork. And, it sucks because he is a little undersized. He doesn't have quite the legs that Darren Sproles has.
Yeah.
But I think that to basically replace Darren Sproles with another smaller back is going to be huge for not only this year, but the future of the Eagles once Darren Sproles retires next year. So, with running back depth, not really. It was kind of good this year, but, there are some players next year that are huge if they decide to wait.
Yeah.
There's other options, because obviously we need a guy to just pound it up the middle. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of look at undrafted free agent Corey Clement out of Wisconsin that we picked up, which he can kind of play that role. But again, he's an undrafted free agent, so we're not really sure whether he's even going to make the team. I'm sure he will, but still. So, there's other options to look at. Jeremy Hill, Mark Ingram from the Saints. There's options for a quick trade. And I was surprised that the Eagles didn't make a player trade in this year's draft. And I know that they're looking to get rid of some guys that don't quite fit the defense. So I think I could see a trade. But I love this kid. Again, like you said, he broke almost every record that he could break, and I'm excited for him to be on the Eagles. Yeah,
and he's definitely someone, you want to see him put on some more weight, and see how he toots that thing. But, I love the pick, obviously, and, it's Donnell Pumphrey. If you need to know more, turn on his highlight tape. He could be the next jitterbug, so he'll get a year to learn under Sproles, and hey, that's excellent. We love that there. So, and now let's move on to our 5th round pick, Sheldon Gibson, 5th round, 166 overall from West Virginia, another Mountaineer, so teammate of our guy Rasul Douglas, and these two used to go at it big time in practice. So they're going to get to continue that rivalry they have, that personal rivalry, and help each other get better in the Eagles practices. And I'm excited about this pick. Trey, what do you think?
It's another burner, man. It literally looks like the Eagles took a look at who they had at burner. They had Bryce Treggs that could take the top of the defense. Yeah. But he didn't really want to play. It didn't seem like he wanted to play. So, I mean, they just gave Carson Wentz 4 burners.
Yes.
4 guys that can just run and take the top off of defense. And, I mean, when you have that many guys, that opens up the middle for all the tight ends. That opens the middle for our slot receiver, whether it be Jordan Matthews or some backup type player. And, I mean, it opens the field for Alshon Jeffrey, too, because even if he's getting double teamed, if your corner can't keep up with a deep threat, which we have multiple guys that can rotate at that position. I mean, I can see some of these guys catching maybe 2 passes or 2 passes a game, but they have close to 70, 80 yards because they're just outrunning everybody. And I think that's going to be huge. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his 40 time was a 4.5, but obviously his playing speed is a lot faster than his 40 time, which is very, that's common. And one thing I want to point out too, which is they got a value pick here. He might be, I can't say, who is and who isn't the best value pick, but look, Sheldon Gibson, this guy on WalterFootball.com was rated as the 10th best wide receiver in the draft. Let me show you some wide receivers he was rated above. Josh Reynolds, Texas A&M. Cooper Kupp was number 14. Isaiah Ford, D.D. Westbrook, 16. Another one is Carlos Henderson and K.D. Cannon. It was 20. So obviously they think very highly of him. He's a value pick. He's a burner. He's going to add a lot of competition to that room, and I personally think he's going to make. I see him making the team. He's got. He's strong. He's rated right behind Chris Godwin. I think he's. I think it's a great pick for the Eagles. He's 5'11". And his playing speed is fast. Got anything else to add about Sheldon Gibson? Not really, man. I think he's a great pick, like you said. I mean, it's looking good for our rookie class. I mean, absolutely. Even if they don't all start right away, for sure. I mean, we just gave Carson Wentz. We gave the defense options, absolutely, and that's all you can really. You can have your starters pretty much set, but if you don't have backup, and those starters get injured, it's a prime example of what happened last year with the cornerback position, with Ron Brooks getting hurt. Or like the safety position because Malcolm Jenkins had to slide up and fill that position. Yeah. So. Absolutely. Hey, well, that's the pick. Sheldon Gibson, another Mountaineer at pick 166, 5th round overall. We love the pick here, so we're going to move on now. Great pick. And you can see, right now you can look at the way he separates, he pushes off the line, he gets open, he can catch the ball over the shoulder. You see that? Look at this right now. This guy is a playmaker. He's someone who's going to be there for Carson Wentz. He's young too, so the upside is there. And look, the draft, it's interesting because players are. Although, you're getting drafted right now, but that's not to say, if you had another year, and they had to redo the draft, who would be where? What would, so he's a young guy, and I think his ceiling, if it was another year, I think he's easily going 2nd round. That's my opinion on him. I really think that highly of him. You see that, he's a great player. He is a great player. So, that's Sheldon Gibson, round 5, pick 166. Yeah, so, you just saw, Sheldon Gibson there, and now, for the 5th pick. So the 5th pick, for the 5th round pick, the Eagles went out and got Nathan Gary, pick 184 overall. Nathan Gary from Nebraska. He played safety there. He's listed as a linebacker now. I'm just going to let Trey jump right into this. Trey, what do you think? Versatility is the key to this guy. They brought him in not only to add depth to the safety position, but obviously they have him listed as a linebacker. So I expect him to play a lot of outside linebacker on that weak side where Michael Kendricks plays if he doesn't pan out to the way that the Eagles want. So, this guy not only just plays those 2 positions and plays them well, he also was the emergency long snapper for Wisconsin. So, or Nebraska, my bad. But so, we obviously have that injury at the end of last season with John Dornbos. So, that brings in a whole nother aspect. So I think this guy will make special teams. I think he'll be good depth at safety and linebacker. And, this guy's quick.
Yeah.
still too.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. It seems like we're getting a lot of quick guys, and that's good because we got burned a lot over the top last year with cornerbacks and safeties. And we couldn't burn anybody else. So I think that's what they kind of focused on, and I really like this pick.
Yeah, for sure. And he's a thumper too. He lays that wood. I love that. I love a guy who can hit, and he gets to the ball too. He had quite a few breakups and interceptions too, which I really liked. Nathan Gary there. I think the ceiling is the roof. As my friend Elsie always likes to make reference to. But anyway, Nathan Gary there, versatile player, just like Trey said. Not really much more to say about that. We'll see. If not, he's not going to start, obviously, but definitely find him a good place with that speed and versatility on the special teams. Dave Phipp is going to have a very, very fun time with him. So, look, let's move on to Elijah Quells, 6th-round pick out of Washington. And look, I will just say it right here. If it was not for his size and his lack of discipline for his body type and his weight, Elijah Quells, would have been a day 2 selection. That's just the reality of it. He's huge. He reminds me of Pot Roast, Vince Wilfork over there in Houston. He is just a solid player up the middle, clog up that run. He's a big body, whole body, and really, the reality is that he's just gonna have to, he's gonna have to be an adult. He's gonna have to maintain his weight if he wants to be successful here in Philadelphia, which I fully expect him to do as a professional, because look, that's just what you do as a professional. The childish things have to go aside, and obviously we've seen some people in Philadelphia who have struggled with doing that, but I fully expect him, especially having the same team as him and someone he is very close with, and they both want to succeed here in Philadelphia. I see him fully being able to control his weight. And look, we lost Bo Allen. Bo Allen's not going to be coming back for a while, And so in the inside, we that's where our depth is a little bit lacking at, if we're lacking depth at all, really. But he has a shot here to make a big impact for Schwartz. And I think Schwartz is going to like him a lot. I think that's why he got picked. I think they saw the value there, him sitting in the 6th round. And it's another risk that you take. A risk you take saying, hey, a guy who can't control his weight, can we get him in here? Can he be productive? Trey, what do you think about that production? How much is his weight going to impact his overall presence on the team? And does he have a shot to play a lot to start?
Honestly, his weight is what makes or breaks the team. Not just makes or breaks his chances to make the team.
Absolutely.
Because honestly, if you look at all of our guys, they should all be on the team when it cuts down to the 53-man roster.
For sure.
So I think that honestly, out of all the picks, this guy would be the guy that would not make the team. And I don't think it's because of his talent. I think it's because of his discipline, like you said.
Right.
If he can get his discipline under control, he'll make the team. We need depth at that position, and that's what he brings to the table. But we picked up some undrafted free agents that are looking at it, and you already got the undrafted free agent from last year, Destiny.
Yep.
So there's plenty of room for this guy, but if he's not gonna work his ass off and truly figure out his weight for his body type and what the Eagles want from him, then he's not going to make the team. But I'm excited for this guy to make the team, and I think he easily can.
For sure.
He's got the talent for it. He's just got to get the discipline under control.
For sure.
So
hey.
I think that him really honestly only knowing Sidney Jones, and Sidney Jones is already in the film room. That's a huge impact on him. So I think he can do it, and I'm excited to watch him come out and play a few downs this year.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see him at training camp too. Go out there and compete. The guy is 6'1", 313 pounds. So really want to see that almost drop down closer to maybe like a 290 maybe. But definitely maybe, look up Vince Wilfork. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's been one of the great players in the NFL, Patriot, and then ended his career with the Houston Texans there, clogging up the middle of defenses, making life hell for running backs. So pretty much, Elijah Quells, if there is one guy who might not make the team, I agree it probably is him. But I actually think he makes a team. I put my chips down. I say he makes a team. I say he gets his weight under control. And I say he contributes right away. He recorded 4.5 sacks this past year, 38 tackles, 5 of them were for a loss. He obviously has some potential there. And he's going to be someone who Schwartz will like to get their hands on, and for that size, being 310, he still ran a 5.13 40, which I mean is not blazing speed for a defensive end, but for someone who's 300 plus pounds, that's pretty good. So get that weight under control and come out and be a wrecking crew. Obviously the defensive line in Philadelphia is going to be excellent. I'm saying top 5. You heard it from me. Top 5 or bust.
Top 5, no debating.
So
Top
yeah,
five,
that's
top
my
five,
thought.
top
Trey,
five.
we're gonna end like this. And once again, Trey at Eagles_Republic. We're so thankful to have him on the line here. Trey, we're gonna end with give this overall draft all 7 rounds for just the value that they did. A way too early draft grade, because in my opinion, it takes a little while to grade a draft. But give me your first initial draft grade for the Philadelphia Eagles 2017 draft.
A-.
A-. Well, hey, look, you guys got 2 A- coming your way because that's an identical grade from me. I think solid picks all around. I give them an A- just because of the risk that they took. And you can never, if they were able to make something happen and get this kind of talent without the risk, that would be an A for me. But you always have to put, the minus, that asterisk, because, some bad things could happen. But I don't foresee that happening. I see some great things coming for Philadelphia, and I think we're on the up and up. I think we're trending upward. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Trey, thanks again for being on with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. One last thing, just before we sign off. I mean, none of these players out of all 8 draft picks have a lot of pressure on them.
Absolutely.
Nobody has a day one starter where they have to come in and fill the shoes of a great. Yes, Derek Barnett, he's a first round pick. He has been compared to Reggie White, but he doesn't have a lot of pressure because we have so much depth and rotation at that position. So
Absolutely.
I think that's huge for all of our players.
And that's something that our previous drafts, our top picks have not been able to have been afforded. So it's definitely something that's going to play out to their advantage. But hey, look, like we said before, Trey from Eagles_Republic, one of the best in the business. Kevin Taylor here, Birds Fly Talk here. And look, man, that was our recap. You saw rounds 1 through 3, and now you just saw 4 through 7. That's the Eagles draft class here. Philly's locked and loaded. Let us know what you want to hear, man. Get in our comments, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Please follow us on Instagram. That's where we do a lot of our work. Get at us on Twitter. We're trying to grow that too. And follow Trey over there at Eagles@ and also Eagles_Republic. Excuse me. Don't let me get that wrong. Look, shout out to Sports R Philly. They've been great to us, and we're happy to have that partnership going. So look, this was Birds Fly Talk, just like I said. Draft recap. Hey, man, we're happy to get after it. Trey, thanks again, man. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Absolutely here. Birds Fly Talk. We out. Peace.
When I walk with you, I watch the whole room change.